Okay, guys, it's Friday, August 11th, 2023, and I'm walking around Lahaina a couple days after this catastrophic fire, and you can see there's X's in front of hundreds of houses here, hundreds or thousands of cars. I don't know what the count is. I don't know what's going on here any more than what I see, because we can't get on the internet and we don't have any power. But I believe those X's mean they've searched for bodies. And this fire was so hot that all of the wheels of the cars have melted. All the aluminum has melted. You can see it just like water. It ran down the gutters in places where there's just molten aluminum everywhere. So I don't know how hot a fire has to get to do that, because I can't search for anything on the internet, but let me know in the comments. And you know, one other thing I'll say is, I think on one of the neighborhoods I was walking through yesterday, I commented that it smelled like a fireworks show, and you know, just more intense. But that is not what it smells like here. Here it smells like death. It smells like dead bodies is what it smells like. I mean, it's unimaginable. I mean, anyone who's ever smelled a rotting animal carcass, that is what it smells like when I'm walking around here. And you know, it's like this for miles, and I don't know what it looks like if an atomic bomb hits a city, but I couldn't imagine anything being much worse than this. I mean, the devastation here. This was a fully functioning neighborhood. This was like a normal, you know, kids playing basketball in the street, like normal place 3 days ago, something like that. So I had to cut the video off here because up ahead there are a lot of dead animal bodies, which is a pretty horrific scene. I don't know if that's the type of stuff I can even show on TikTok. I can't look it up at the moment. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments your thoughts on that, and I can edit the rest of the footage when we get power back.
Let's see here. What do we think did this? Direct energy weapon?
I know how they're gonna attack. Think of a microwave. Frequencies. If you put a metal fork in there, it sparks and explodes. But if you put broccoli in there, it heats it up. The difference is the material it's made of. You cannot put metals in a microwave. High frequency device. Now let's talk about this direct energy weapon. That's a high frequency device. Melting all the metals, leaving trees behind. Sounds like they're using microwave technology, and it's affecting metals. Well, imagine if you had a bunch of metals in your body. Heavy metals, like barium, aluminum. You know, the stuff they spray in the air, or the stuff they put in water, even in food. The you-know-what. Long story short, we need to eliminate metals in our body. Imagine if they turn that up higher, level 2. The more metals you have in your body, the higher the chances of you exploding. Melting like those cars, catching on fire, sparking like the fork in the microwave. You need a detox from heavy metals right now. I did another video on this recently about a movie I watched. They use frequencies to disintegrate people. This isn't a movie, folks. We're test subjects. I saw a video about the people in Hawaii that were jumping in the ocean because their skin was burning. It wasn't burning because of the fire. It was from the frequencies coming from whatever it is they hit it with. They were cooking. Water in their body was cooking. And if they had a lot of metal in there, or if the frequency was higher, people would be just like those cars, disintegrated. Far-fetched? Not anymore. I use frequencies to detox. I use mineral salts, cilantro under the tongue, onions on the bottom of your foot, rebounding on a trampoline. Stop eating.
This right here is for all of you that think the DO weapons, the directed energy weapons, you think it's crazy and you think it's bullshit, calling us conspiracy theorists. Here's your proof, honey. Comes straight off the Lockheed Martin website. Why don't you have a lookie? Remember, pause and read. This right here.
Direct energy weapons. They've been around for a very long time. There was a time when the magnifying glass was one of the most deadliest weapons on this earth. If you ever come across this weapon, guaranteed, brother, somebody's getting smoked. This weapon was very simple to use, but the results was deadly. All you needed was the rays from the sun, a giant magnifying glass, and guaranteed somebody's getting slewed. This is somebody using that same method in modern day times. The heat from the sun would be amplified so much that it would melt solid stone. Oh my diddy. So this is another reason why we see all of these melted ruins all over the world.
A lot of people are claiming the Maui fires were caused by dew. And I'm not talking about this dew or that dew. I'm talking about these dews. Directed energy weapons use highly focused energy, including lasers, microwaves, particle beams, and sound beams. And while this might sound like something from a sci-fi movie, these are actually a real thing. The technology was invented in the 60s, and the first time it was actually used as a weapon was in 2002 by the US and Israel. Since then, the technology has come a long way. But is it really possible for these to start the fires we saw in Maui? Let's find out. The theories imply it was either a plane-mounted or satellite-mounted laser. So, what is the max distance for these lasers? Well, based on what I was able to find, the lasers that are used for weapons can travel up to about 12 miles or so, and satellites typically orbit the Earth around 12,000 miles up, with the lowest satellite being at 104 miles up. So I think it's safe to rule out a satellite laser as the culprit. Now let's look at planes. The Boeing YAL-1 was the first laser-equipped airplane tested in 2007. So we do have planes with dews, and if the plane was flying low enough, it is theoretically possible for this plane to cause a fire on the ground with its laser. But let's be real, these things are massive, and so far they've only been mounted on big planes like a 747 or an AC-130, which would be pretty obvious flying that low over Maui. So don't you think someone would have noticed that? There's just not enough evidence to prove this one right or wrong, and believe me, I love conspiracy theories, but even this one is a bit of a stretch for me.
That's crazy!
Did you know that there are 2 sites in the U.S. that have these directed energy weapons? One is Nevada and the other is Maui. Let's start with this directed energy Air Force Maui optical and supercomputing AMOS site located on the island of Maui. May I quote from the website? Listen to this. Directed energy harnesses the power of the electromagnetic spectrum to enable airmen to effectively and affordably strike critical targets at the speed of light. Question: why Maui? Answer: it's a new smart grid in Hawaii dubbed the, quote, Jump Smart Maui Project.
World's first airborne directed energy weapon, the airborne laser, also known as the ABL. Just mounting the ABL requires one of the most sophisticated and elaborate modifications in history. The entire nose section is removed and retrofitted, and the world's largest titanium plate is installed to hold the enormous turret-mounted laser in place. The ABL system is designed to find, track, and destroy an enemy target in the air and on the ground. It can loiter at 40,000 feet for 5 hours, refuel in midair, and destroy a target 60 miles away in less than a second.
Laser weapons can be programmed for different wavelengths. Can a laser cause property damage from a satellite in space? let's say on a small island in the Pacific.
You see how the blinds on the bottom are perfectly fine, but the top of the blinds are completely melted. Here are the blinds on the other side, the front of my house. There is some warping on the top blinds. It's shrunken, it's burned. They're using an extremely high beam to get through my bunker and Faraday cage.
Luna High School in the neighborhood that did not, I repeat, did not burn. You can see all these houses are standing around here, unburned. There's no burn here, okay? So to me, this is like something out of a space movie, because you have this small field with some grass that burned, right? You can see where the grass burned. But then you have these two vehicles sitting in here that have melted aluminum. So Donovan, if you want to just take us through this car real quick and show us, I know you know a few things about cars, you can point out some things that require a very high temperature. By the way, we just talked to the neighbor who was talking to an investigator in Lahaina town yesterday, and he said the investigator told him the temperatures reached in excess of 3,000 degrees. So tell us what you got, Donovan.
Well, we have about 300 degrees for aluminum, and this
300?
1300.
1300, okay, thank you.
1300, well, 1220, but if you round it up, because it was not only melted, it was liquefied to the point where it
ran
became
down
a river of aluminum going down the dirt hill.
So this is the aluminum rim, obviously. There's the tire, what's left of it, the steel threads or steel belts.
And maybe combination gas tank if the gas tank's aluminum.
Okay, okay. So you have liquefied aluminum running down the side of a grass fire.
The caliper melted, unless they stole it, but it looks like the bolts are still there. So that, and then you get the belt, the steel belt of the tire, which is just a bunch of a wire mesh laying there, and you have the windows that were melted, the back window. If you look at the big old, like almost like
the glass is just melted.
Yeah, it was
dripping.
This is almost what you would see if you put a car in an incinerator.
But this is not surrounded by a bunch of structure fires or anything.
Yeah, there's no fuel.
So besides the gas that was in the tank, what's your theory on what could create temperatures of this level in the middle of a field?
Anomaly, I think is the word.
So this is the second anomaly.
Yeah, it's just that's why I stopped. I looked at it, I'm like, okay, house. Nothing's burned, and then you have melted steel and glass, and then the only thing that is left is the steel, the thick steel frame, and then the steel sheet metal.
Cuando vuelva la luz, va a volver a explotar. Oye, justo hay una micro ahí, güey. Really? Really? Really?
First off, I'd like to thank the good people at Chanjin Smelting and Mining and Donuts and Tops for neutralizing our wonderful, deadly new lard lead.
Yeah, that's great.
They'll grow back. The time for mourning and blaming our mayors has passed. We will rebuild. We will rebuild. We will rebuild. We will rebuild.
rebuild. We will rebuild. I guess there's only one man we can turn to.
What you want me to say? Simpsons has been doing it for years. I mean, what a great episode. That's not predictive programming. That's not a prediction. It's just a coincidence. That is all. Ill-gotten humor. Guys have a blessed day. Peace to the gods. Really? Really? Really?
Wait. Death toll from the Maui wildfires has reached nearly 100.
It's not correct. They're not reporting it correctly. I don't know why they're not reporting it correctly. There's hundreds, if like at least 600, if not thousands of people who are dead in the streets, floating in the ocean. There's over 3,000 homes that have been burned to the ground.
The numbers of the dead are so wrong. Still get dead bodies in the water floating and on the seawall. They've been sitting there since last night. We've been pulling people out since last night, trying to save people's lives. And I feel like we're not getting the help we need.
I live on Maui. The media is lying and or covering up the extent of the damage and the death count. The death and destruction is way worse than we're being told.
Hey y'all, Myra here. So take a look at this crazy video. This just happened today, May 26th in Chile. So quick backstory, a man was in his apartment and he heard 5 explosions and then his electricity went out. He ran to his balcony to see what was going on or to see if he could see anything, and he happened to catch the 6th explosion. It looks like a laser beam, y'all. A laser beam. Is this some sort of super advanced technology we have no idea about? Is it some sort of government testing? Is like, it looks so futuristic. I'm mind blown a little bit. But there was no explosion. It was just this laser beam hitting a specific location. I have no idea what this is. Tell me what you think. Like, post, comment, repost. Let me know.
Cuando vuelva la luz, va a volver a explotar. Oye, justo hay una micro ahí, weón. Conche tu madre.
I have had equidistant sores that have appeared on both of my subscapularis muscles at the same time. I have been drugged. I've been abducted from my home. I've had guns pointed at my head. I've had death threats. And much, much worse, believe it or not, by being in these programs and experiments. The after effects of this have made me socially avoidant most days, and it is extremely hard to establish relationships with people I can trust as a result of these abominations, and I thank the committee for hearing my statement.
Thank you. Mr. Ken Rhodes? Juan, we are actually, I think people are being so good about keeping the pace, and this is so stressful for many of them, we can allow them to slow down just a little bit, okay? This is important for them.
My name is Ken Rhodes from Michigan. I'm here to tell you that the use of electronic weapons and mind control is helping the United States against the American people. You may think this will never affect you, but there will come a day when this will affect all of you, your children, their children, and every generation from this day forward. I'm here to speak for every person affected by these horrific crimes against humanity. I can't go. Thank you.
If you want, Ken, if you want to get back in line at some time and you want to finish that we would understand. What? Someone could certainly read it for him, yes. Thank you for doing that. And you are, I'm sorry?
My name is Lisa Becker.
Thank you, Lisa.
I had the privilege to address you at the last commission meeting. I'm here to speak for every person affected by these horrific crimes against humanity by a tyrannical group of people committed to eugenics and population control. If you're not part of this inside group of tyrants, you're like all of us here today. Ask yourselves, have you forgotten what it is to be an American and to be brought into tyranny? You will soon learn what it is to be a slave. Allowing this to continue is allowing our rights and freedoms to be taken away from all of us, one right at a time. It's interesting how much technology exists that would find the criminals and the perpetrators of this heinous crimes of electronic harassment and terroristic tactics being used against innocent U.S. citizens on a daily basis. These technologies should be used for the betterment of our society. But you know what the most powerful weapon is in our arsenal that would put an end to these horrific crimes once and for all. It is someone giving a damn and correcting the things that are taking place. We have all gone to people who took an oath to protect and serve, who have been in commissions to investigate the unethical treatment of citizens in human experimentations. We have been denied protection and service and have been ignored by commission after commission. Enough is enough. This is America. We're supposed to be better than this. We all know what Hitler did to the Jewish people. When this all comes out, what the American government has done to their own people, it will make Hitler look like a saint. If some of you didn't get some morals, thank you, but I'll finish. Well, then you don't understand what we're going through. If some of you don't get some morals or conscience, you will I'm sorry, I can't read the rest of it. Thank you.
Ken and Lisa, thank you very much.
I'm also a victim. I'm 67 years old from MK Ultra. Thank you.
Thank you.
We need a hearing on this.
Thank you.
Miss Sandra Fields.
In a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Fields. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently suffering from chemical, electromagnetic, psychological, and physical torture with no government relief or laws. Our servicemen, prisoners, and thousands of unknowing, innocent civilians are currently being lamed, tormented, and tortured as a result of military research, medical research, pharmaceutical research, physiological and psychological studies that have virtually destroyed participants' sanity,
physical well-being, reputation, and privacy. Government projects like MK Ultra and COINTELPRO are rumored to be active today, with updated forms of surveillance and torture and technologies. In 2010, Morrison and Furster won the right to proceed with a case against the CIA, Department of Defense, and the U.S. Army for veterans' development of multiple diseases and ailments tied to a secret testing program in which the United States military personnel were deliberately exposed to chemical and biological weapons and other toxins without informed consent. Sleep deprivation, poisoning, and high-frequency doses of continuous microwave pulses are inclined to increase one's chances for mental disorders, autism, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. The body's immune system is broken down. Their nervous system and the brain and spinal cord are attacked and maimed. There are no laws to prevent electromagnetic attacks, except in Maine. The federal government does not acknowledge these crimes. There is no literature, educational resources, or assistance for victims. I would like to ask this committee to consider an investigation into these unethical violations and a task force be created for educational and to help people who are in trouble of these situations. And I'd be honored to help in this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Stephen Popitek.
I just want to give thanks and gratitude for this commission actually being here and being able to bear witness to our testimonials as well. I think it's really a credit to Obama, even though I'm against a lot of his policies, that he would actually create this type of commission. I do hope that it goes beyond these walls, though, and actually creates some type of implementation for change. I could speak for hours about my own personal experiences and some of the more modern versions of projects that several people have talked about. My harassment started back in 1997, more from a remote influencing perspective. I had made contacts in different military, industrial complex, basically in different agencies. I had received microwave harassment actually on and off for a number of years, where they were trying to project images of suicide and various states of basically emotional mood management. This was confirmed to me in 2001 by a contact at the National Security Agency. He worked in community. I'm not sure if he's retired at this point, but I talked to him recently. He worked in Communications Intelligence Division of NSA for 25 years. This is right after 9/11, a month after, when he came to meet with me at my part-time job at the time. And he basically was working at kind of like in that division. He was examining different types of abuses that were going on in the NSA. And he stated to me personally that my case fell within the realm of potential abuse in the agency that he was investigating. At this point, he's still involved in the agency. I can provide his name and information more in private, though, because I don't want to get in trouble for overt disclosure of someone who's still active in that agency, especially with the technology they have. But anyway, he basically also confirmed to me that what I experienced in terms of just the tip of the iceberg of part of my experiences with the emotional projection, he said that was very common, and that they were using microwaves because they had taken really advanced EEG images of people in different emotional states, mapped those digital brainwave signatures, emotional clusters of people feeling different emotional states. They said that they can take those digital brainwave signatures, piggyback on a certain bandwidth of microwaves as a carrier wave, and they can target people worldwide without need for a local transmitter. He confirmed all that to me and said that they use satellite to target anybody they want, and it's a very common procedure within this portion of the NSA, which is horrendous that they actually let this going on. So I think the idea of the non-consensual abuse needs to be extended to more of the covert military establishment. And then later on in 2003, when I was getting more advanced projections with like multi-layered, not just from my conscious feelings, but into my unconscious, he said that they were trying to fine-tune their projections on me to see how I could block it out. Because I work in more in the consciousness field of meditation, alternative spirituality. So I do different techniques to help people block out some of these frequencies by taking control of their own biophotonic fields. I've also made contact with many scientists over the years, underground scientists who used to work in various intelligence areas, who've also confirmed this and much more beyond technologies, where they use longitudinal electromagnetic wave technologies, technology that Tesla first developed, which also could be used in alternative healing. I'm also aware of a friend I know who upstate who's been curing people of different illnesses using this.
I want you guys to listen real carefully to what this guy has to say about technology in the South Pole, aka Antarctica. He's not the only person to talk about technology. A matter of fact, there was a guy that was saying that there's a technology in Antarctica that can set off or trigger an earthquake in any part of the world because of the technology that they have underground. But this right here is something that we should all be worried about. Proceed with caution.
What are you blowing the whistle on? That there are technologies at the South Pole Station that people can't even consider that exist on this planet. Like what? Directed energy weapon systems is something that people need to get into their vocabulary fast. The ice cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit.
Remember when Governor Josh Green said this right after the fires in Maui?
Thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial.
Everyone thought that that sounded weird, but then last week, Justin Huey, a Lahaina resident, went to the Maui County Council meeting to testify and said this.
My name's Justin Huey. I am a teacher, a third grade teacher from the burned down King Kamehameha III Elementary in Lahaina, and I am testifying on my concerns of the governor's emergency proclamation that happened 3 weeks prior to the fire, and how it suspended 7 state statutes, of which exonerated everything that you guys are in charge of, covers county organization, administration, and to my knowledge, this was the first emergency proclamation in the country that didn't have a preceding incident. Normally it's like a hurricane, boom, we got an emergency proclamation. But this was just, from my knowledge, was just to streamline development.
It's true. Governor Josh Green signed an emergency proclamation specific to housing 3 weeks before the fires in Maui on July 17th. This proclamation basically says that housing in the state of Hawaii is an emergency because the land and the development has become too expensive for Hawaiians to rent and buy. It removes all the red tape when it comes to building new infrastructure and suspends previous building laws saying that those processes take too much time. It suspended 7 state statutes, suspends historic preservation, Hawaii Community Development and Authority, environmental impact statements, collective bargaining in public employment, allowed the governor to appoint a state lead housing officer to support and carry out the intent and purposes of this proclamation, not an elected official. It states what is needed to promote the expedient development of housing. Number 4, brownfield sites that are developed primarily to provide housing. What are brownfield sites? According to the EPA, a brownfield site means real property, the expansion, redevelopment, or reuse, which may be complicated by the presence of hazardous substance, pollutant, or contaminant. Isn't that why the government's saying that they're having to build these fences around Lahaina to keep the pollutants out? Also, a super weird coincidence is that the EPA's Brownfields 2023 premier event happened in Michigan on the exact dates of the fires in Maui, August 8th through the 11th. To me, all of this is odd. The timing of the emergency proclamation for housing specifically 3 weeks prior to the fires in Maui, Governor Josh Green right after the fires saying that he was trying to find ways for the state to acquire the land, and the fact that the Maui residents have been voicing their concerns about land grabs and saying that the government is not including them in the rebuilding process for Lahaina. As always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
Well, today I'm standing out here with the laser defense system behind me at White Sands Missile Range, and we are demonstrating a significant advancement in the capabilities of laser weapon systems against threats that are of interest to all of our war fighters. So in partnership with the Office of Naval Research, ONR, we have demonstrated the capability of negating a surrogate cruise missile in flight with our compact laser weapon system.
Bleachers on.
Bill and Bill are on. Track looks good.
All right, here we go.
In today's event, it's the first time that a modern fiber laser weapon system with adaptive optics was able to negate a cruise missile. I'm really proud of the team, and we had a multi-VA team that had to work long hours over significant periods of time, and today's results show perfectly how well we performed.
Direct Energy Weapon, oddly enough, was the name of my Guns N' Roses cover band in '94.
Look behind you. Insane. Whoa, did you see that just shoot across? Did anyone else see that?
I've clearly made it the conspiracy theory TikTok when this kind of comment is being left on my video. So let's talk about it. So people on Twitter and whatnot are clamoring to photos like this, where they're showing a laser beam hitting the fires on Maui, and they're like, it's the government. They're starting fires, and they're going after people's land. But what people don't realize is this is a doctored image. I'll show you the original. So this is the original image that they just zoomed in on and flipped the other way. I'll show you. There you have it. It's the same image. They just flipped it the other way, and they added a little beam of light, and they're like...
And it's painted purple under Building 5, so you know where you are, and then green under Building 4. So it's color-coded so the delivery trucks know where to unload. And we're going to look down that direction. Just after 9/11. Listen to the echo in this audio clip.
Going down to the parking garage. We're in quite deep.
These are the first pictures of search crews underneath the World Trade Center, desperately looking for survivors.
Someone down here? That's not a collapsed parking garage. That's not even a full parking garage. It's an empty parking garage. And we had this left. You can see remains of Tower 1. Stairwell B where those guys survived, and it's all at ground level. There was a lot of dirt brought in.
We were able to move 120 dump trucks out of the city last night, which will give you a sense of the work that was done overnight. So some of the debris has already been removed. More of it is being removed, and it'll be done by barge all throughout the day today.
Did you think it was going to...
Direct energy weapons.
About suspected directed energy microwave attacks targeting CIA officers and top national security officials. We first started hearing about them, and we told you about them here on Special Report in 2016. Shortly after, then President Obama opened the embassy.
This has been going on for a long time. Listen
National
up.
Security correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon has the latest tonight about a suspected attack here at home.
And comment below what you think.
U.S.
Is this
officials
related?
say there are now 130 suspected victims, mostly CIA operatives and U.S. diplomats being treated for brain injuries, debilitating headaches, and vertigo, the targets they believe of a directed energy microwave weapon.
There's a mysterious direct energy weapon that is being used, and it is causing, in some cases, permanent traumatic brain injury.
New indications suggest the
Has anyone
incidents
else been
go
having
as far
headaches
back as
lately?
1996.
Feeling super
Two
tired?
individuals working on the NSC
Bro, come on.
believe they were targeted in 2019 and in 2020, just after the election. One was near the White House and one was
Maybe hot, yeah, watch out there. Just watch out, hot maybe. Wow. All folks home, gone.
The second wave will be the electromagnetic weapon, and that is what we are facing now. And that's why this document is so important, because if we're going to survive this, we need to take measures to protect our health, to avoid being targets, and especially to build up our own immune system and our own bodily strength. And they offer information on how you can do that. You know? And I'd like to end by saying that I am extremely worried about the children. And that's why today I wanted to do a live stream, because during the lockdown, as we've seen again from this document, it was actually this is a global agenda, and because I'm international, I see how this agenda is playing out across the world, because I see the repetition. I see the identical repetition in each country. And so I see that measures have been put in place for children to be removed from their homes. And we know that the lockdown measures included the speeded up installation of 5G. And we know, and you can see here in Vienna, I've been shocked to see how many enormous antennas have been installed immediately outside schools, nurseries, kindergartens. It's horrifying. And I'm also told that WiGig has been widely installed in British schools. So I have to warn parents, do not send your children to school, because the second wave is going to be the electromagnetic radiation. And the intention is to declare that the children have been affected by the alleged COVID and they're quarantining the school, and parents may never see their children again. And that is real. And, you know, we're all in a state of cognitive dissonance. Yeah, I wake up every morning, you know, for a long time. I've been doing this for 26 months. And for a long time in those early months, I woke up in the morning and I pinched myself and I said, this cannot be true. It cannot be true. Yeah. And you know, the normal human mind, the non-psychopathic human mind, just goes into cognitive dissonance. Yeah, I can understand that people can't deal with this. Yeah, so even now, as I talk about this situation with the children, you know, I myself, I find it hard to accept this. Yeah. But I have looked at the legal arrangements that have been put in place, and I know the agenda, I've studied it, and I also have talked to a wonderful researcher called Lena Poo, and I hope that she will forgive me for saying this, but she does know that an electromagnetic weapon was used in an American school. And I think I have to say that now, with so many children at stake. Yeah? It has already been done. So I really want to bring this document to the world and offer it as, or offer my translation of this wonderful document. I thank the French Army Reserve officers so much for producing this document. So my contribution is to have translated it, and I really regard it as a gift to the world, because they clearly see the extreme danger that we are all in, and they're offering you something that will help you to survive and to protect your children. So I'd like to...
World's first airborne directed energy weapon, the airborne laser, also known as the ABL. Just mounting the ABL requires one of the most sophisticated and elaborate modifications in history. The entire nose section is removed and retrofitted, and the world's largest titanium plate is installed to hold the enormous turret-mounted laser in place. The ABL system is designed to find, track, and destroy an enemy target in the air and on the ground. It can loiter at 40,000 feet for 5 hours, refuel in mid-air, and destroy a target 60 miles away in less than a second.
don't find that suspicious? You 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 don't find that? You don't find that?
Operationally, it works just like a laser pointer. There's a chamber inside with special materials that release photons.
If you're looking at a boat coming in over on the water, you can target exactly the engine and take out exactly the engine and not necessarily damage anything else. So, and that type of precision weapon work is something that you don't really get with conventional weapons because there tends to be more collateral damage.
It's useful against a variety of threats, surface or air. It's not a niche weapon system like some other weapons that we have, throughout the military, where it's only good against air contacts or it's only good against surface targets.
Directed energy weapon systems is something that people need to get into their vocabulary fast.
This is the Florida sky on September 11th, 2023 at about 7:30 p.m. I saw this weird blue-green area in the clouds, which I had never seen before. And after watching it, lightning started coming out of it and all around it. And the lightning looked odd too. It didn't look normal, and it seemed like it should have immediate thunder, but the thunder just wasn't there. And it wasn't just me, a whole crowd had gathered with people recording this, and I overheard other people talking about how strange it looked and saying that the lightning doesn't look real. Someone even pulled over and started asking about it and talking with the rest of the people about it. And that guy said, "That lightning's right there, where's the thunder?" Genuinely, my very first thought was Maui, and that was even before the lightning started. You know, the Mountain Dew, Maui burst. If you want to see more of this, I posted longer clips on my YouTube channel, Twisted Love Truth, where some people from the Midwest have commented that this isn't strange in their area, but added that the lightning, however, is strange. So I don't know about the Midwest because I'm in Florida, but I can tell you this is definitely far from normal in Florida. And Florida definitely isn't the only place where we've recently seen strange weather patterns, rare events, first ever events, anomalies, unknown things. And that blue-green area stayed for a long time, and then this strobe lightning started, which you'll shortly see an insane example of. But check out that wild-looking sky. This just isn't something that we see. This area of the blue and the green right here, that honestly, video doesn't even do it justice. It was much more impressive in person. But that area stayed there for a couple of hours. It was so wild and so abnormal that that crowd that had gathered remained there for a long time, recording it in awe and disbelief, while other people were sending me texts, pictures, and videos because they were seeing the same thing, which they too have never seen before. Then when it got completely dark, this is what it looked like, and this strobe just went on and on. But this is all just totally natural, right? We're just witnessing nature, right? It's just coincidence that this year, suddenly everybody's seen strange events in the sky. And I've got a feeling there's much more to come. Stay tuned.
Layered, multi-domain, defensive approach that can be integrated across platforms to neutralize these threats across all those domains.
We have a mutual friend he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and he has been going on about how the Maui fires were caused by direct energy weapons. And since I have technically a miniature direct energy weapon,
direct energy weapons all around, and I'm not even talking about these or HARP or 5G. I've covered Wi-Fi and other invisible energies and realms. I just watched a news article where a doctor said the LED new street lamps that have been around is turning the nation into zombies because of the effects that all the LED blue laser light is having on the human consciousness, mind, and being. Now, if you look at the Maui fires, blue things ironically survived because it was a blue laser. Blue lasers don't burn up blue things. The internet, the screen on your phone, it all works with blue light. Is blue light being used as technology against us as a direct energy weapon? Now, this goes deep with all the technology around us. Could we be looking at a transformer scenario where one day we're just surrounded by technology that has been invented to destroy us?
Specifically directed energy and high-powered microwave technology. When do you envision that you can weaponize that type of technology?
Goodness, it is in, for the most part, the kinds of things you're talking about are in varying early stages. Do you have anything you would add?
I don't think I would add much. I think they are in early stages and probably not ready for employment at this point.
In the normal order of things, when you invest in research and development and begin a developmental project, you don't have any intention or expectations that one would use it. On the other hand, the real world intervenes from time to time, and you reach in there and take something out that is still in a developmental stage, and you might use it. So your question's not answerable. It depends on what happens in the future and how well things move along the track, and whether or not someone feels it's appropriate to reach into a development stage and see if something might be useful, as was the case with the unmanned aerial vehicles.
But you sound like you're willing to experiment.
I think that's the point, and I think, and we have, I think, from the beginning of this conflict, I think General Franks has been very open to looking at new things if there are new things available, and has been willing to put them into the fight even before they've been fully wrung out. And I think that's not referring to these two particular cases of directed energy or high-powered microwave, but sure. And
yes.
We will.
What I have to tell you is important. Oh my God!
They have weaponized space through killer satellites, directed energy weapons, and more in an effort to exploit our systems and chip away at our military advantage.
Let's go super crazy. If you haven't heard what a DO is, that is a direct energy weapon. Lasers. And recently we had some crazy fires that were sparked by some sort of electrical storm in Maui. Here's Mountain Dew's latest release of their new flavor, Maui Burst. That's too much of a coincidence. So I looked at their other flavors. Mountain Dew Voltage, Baja Blast, Baja Gold, and Code Red. Here's some more. Live Wire. Oh look, Deep Dive with dinosaurs and alien fish. Also Baja. So this flavor, Maui Burst, and the event just happened in Maui. Baja Blast looks like a hurricane. And Baja Gold, like the gold country. Well, looky here, there's Baja, California. And here's another view of Baja, California, as seen from Hurricane Hillary. Is this where another direct energy weapon is going to hit? According to my calculations and all my investigation, that sounds like it's... yeah. I'm gonna go get an umbrella. Let's go super crazy. If you haven't heard what a DO is,